The Saltmarsh Threat Abatement project funded by the Australian Government. The real focus is on our salt marshes and our hooded plovers and improving the condition of our salt marsh, which is a vital threatened ecological community on the Eyre Peninsula. And our hooded plovers are one of the strongholds for that threatened species in Australia.
Drone technology's played a really important role in enabling us to monitor change in our salt marsh communities as part of the STAR project. It's been really advantageous because many of our ecosystems in our salt marshes are really fragile and susceptible to human interference. So by actually being able to monitor this remotely via a drone enables us to have basically no impact on the salt marsh itself. It also enables us to repeat a lot of our monitoring down the track. So we can go back to the same site that we flew 5-10 years ago, repeat the same flight paths and enable us to produce 2 images which we can overlay and detect the change that's occurred over time. Salt marshes are quite slow growing, and given that we're not having any impact on the actual salt marsh itself through monitoring, we can repeat this year after year for a long period of time and really give us a picture of how things have changed over decades.
Over the STAR project, we've been lucky enough to have the opportunity to clean up and revegetate over 260 hectares of threatened coastal salt marsh on Eyre Peninsula. Salt marsh has historically been undervalued and been used as a dumping ground over the years, and we've been able to start to try and change attitudes and get some of those areas cleaned up throughout the life of the project. Through the project, we've been able to work with local government to improve the hydrological flows, so to get more water to flow through the salt marshes. We've done this mainly by upgrading and improving the capacity of culverts in those salt marsh areas. Our salt marsh work also includes sediment elevation table monitoring, in which we collect data on sediment accumulation in salt marsh along our coast.
As part of the STAR project, the Eyre Peninsula Landscape Board has undertaken all different types of salt marsh rehabilitation. We have conducted track ripping up at Smoky Bay. We have removed pest plants from salt marsh habitat, and today we are looking at revegetating some salt marsh habitat. We have chosen these sites as areas that we can improve and bring it back to its natural form. We're really hoping to have an impact in this coastal area where higher tides and higher ocean levels can really have an impact on the natural landscape here. Salt marsh vegetation acts as a very good carbon sink, which is where carbon enters the intertidal zone and sits inside the salt marsh vegetation and inside the soil. So these salt marsh systems play a vital role in capturing carbon so that it's not released into the atmosphere. Salt marsh is the starting point of a lot of our food chains. It's a good site for a lot of insects to thrive. There's a lot of food for the insects, and in turn quite a lot of bird life relies on this samphire salt marsh country, especially shorebirds. As part of the STAR project, we're doing hooded plover monitoring, and hooded plovers are one of the birds that utilise samphire vegetation as cover, as habitat. They use it as a bit of a feeding ground.
Hooded plovers are actually recognised as one of Australia's 20 top threatened bird species. It's great that we've got the opportunity to spend a little bit more time to look at how hooded plovers are faring and are doing in our region. So a big part of exploring how they're doing is to look at how successful they are with their nesting, how successfully they're able to get their nest through and then their chicks through that 35 days that they can't fly. Our goal through the STAR project has been to try and firstly work out the number of chicks reaching fledgling actually was, and then see what ways at some sites we could try and improve that success rate. So there's various interventions we've been able to trial. So predator control has been quite a big one that's been rolled out at a number of locations where the monitoring provided us the information that predators were a significant threat. So when volunteers and staff have gone out to complete their monitoring, they're not only monitoring what the birds are doing, they're also picking up the information on the threats that they're seeing. We've found that a lot of people actually just don't realise hooded plovers are there. They're quite a quiet bird. Their way to defend their nest is quite passive. They're not aggressive, they're not noisy. So most people actually don't even know that they're sharing the beach with hooded plovers. So by letting people know at access points to the beach or on the beach itself, flanking a nest with signs to alert the public, we've found that actually the majority of people are fantastic and really do try and just give the hooded plovers the space they need to be able to successfully sit on their nest or raise their chicks. In the 2021 through to 2022 nesting season, we had an absolutely amazing year. We had 23 fledglings recorded by staff and volunteers at the sites we were monitoring, and those successes were across 10 different nesting territories, which is fantastic. So they weren't all from only a few locations. The previous year we had actually only had 6 officially recorded, so to have a huge jump from 6 to 23 was fantastic. Now the really interesting part of the story is that at 7 of those 10 locations that the fledglings were recorded from, we implemented in the region some form of management. It just goes to show what can be done where it's needed in some locations to give the birds a better chance to survive and get their chicks through to fledging. So since 2019 we've worked quite hard to increase our number of volunteers involved in the project. We're up around 35 volunteers now that are involved in some way or another in the Beach Nesting Birds program that we deliver in conjunction with BirdLife. We've had the opportunity to look at what hooded plovers may be doing and where they may be going over their non-breeding months, which is during the winter. Hooded plovers are known to predominantly spend their time along our open ocean sandy beaches, but what we've actually found during the winter months is that hooded plovers are moving to some of our inland and near coastal saltmarsh areas as well. So there's definitely a link there between hooded plovers and saltmarsh environments. A lot of our beaches in the winter time experience extremely high tides and the beaches actually disappear. So we feel the hooded plovers may be moving inland to, I guess, seek some areas of refuge for those winter months and also to make the most of alternative food sources that exist there. We were really excited to see a flock of 20 birds consisting of adults and juveniles at one of our lake sites, the East Greenley Lakes. So to see birds in such a large flock was fantastic. We know this does happen on the coast, but to see that happening inland was a first for us. We've never actually had that reported before. The other exciting thing too was to see a really good number of juveniles in the mix, and that was at a few of our locations. Juveniles were seen with the adults. So that's a really good indication that our previous breeding season was actually quite successful. The more we find out about hooded plovers and the way they're using our environment here, the more ability we've got to help them and put plans in place and things in place to help manage these areas that they're using.
The Eyre Peninsula Landscape Board has been focusing on Landcare actions to help protect and improve our threatened saltmarsh communities along with the threatened hooded plover. Coastal saltmarshes are a vital part of Eyre Peninsula's ecology. Saltmarshes protect our shorelines, act as blue carbon sinks, and are important fish nurseries and bird habitat. The value of saltmarshes as an ecosystem is right up there with rainforests.
With the impacts of climate change, we're really hoping to have an impact in this coastal area. If we can learn the best method to rehabilitate these areas, we're put in a really good position to look after our natural landscape.